taking first cut. Golly! Welcome to the First Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gehman, and this is your round 3 recap for this week's PGA Championship. Joining me to break it all down, Patrick McDonald is here. Patrick, good evening.
Good evening, gang. Someone tell producer Josh, this is what a big boy leaderboard looks like. Woo-wee, boys. Woo-wee.
I will let him know. He is right next door. Greg DuCharme is here. Hello, Greg.
A big boy leaderboard. Unfortunately, some of the names that I wanted on there are not. But hey, this is still going to be quite a show tomorrow. I have a feeling we're in for a wild one.
I apologize. We would have been here a little bit sooner, but Kyle Porter is the mayor of Valhalla. He's getting stopped left and right, shaking hands. He's kissing babies. Everybody's telling him how much they love him. So it took us an extra 5 minutes to walk up from the media center. So my bad.
Okay.
Cool. So let's run on an awesome Saturday. This leaderboard is absolutely jammed. We are going to talk about as many names as possible. And let's start with the round of the day. Shane Lowry's 9 under 62 matches, the lowest major championship round ever recorded. And this was splendid. Out in 29, Greg. He then birdied 13, 14, 17, and he had a putt for the magic number. He had a putt for 61 on the 18th hole. We were greenside. It goes begging, and he has to card a 62, but now up 25 spots on the leaderboard.
And now 5 62s in major championship history. This was a special round, and Patrick and I know all too well what Shane Lowry has struggled with this year. I mean, last year, think about this. Last year, he missed the FedEx Cup playoffs, and he hit the ball really well. He hit the ball really well again today, but the answer is what happened on the greens. He gained nearly 6 strokes putting, first in the field, 61 feet of putts made. That is the best round of his career by nearly a shot and a half. So really impressive stuff out of Shane Lowry.
Yeah, it was just a clinic of him rolling the rock. And Patrick, you know, this was a special round. Greg mentioned it. Now we've got 5 62s in major championship history. 4 of them have come in the last 4 major championships. Do we need to have a conversation about something like that?
Well, I think those 4 came at setups that aren't conducive for golf courses that should hold major championships. Obviously, there's a lot of heat being thrown at Valhalla this week. Not enough, tough conditions out there. Too many birdies, yada, yada, yada. And you look at the other 2, LACC, Ricky Fowler, Xander Schauffele. That place should never have a major championship either. Probably on the same playing field architecturally as well, if the nerds want to come after me for that. But we come look at this 62. He parred both of the par 5s on the back. I mean, he had a chance to go 60 easily. I know he picked off a couple bonus there on 13 and 14. And Greg, that 161 number, I tweeted it out, and I think some people are taking it as gospel. I said, Shane Lowry holed 161 feet of putts today, matching his entire total from 2024.
Yeah, I saw that.
And people are like, oh my goodness, that's insane. That's how bad he has been, that there are people out there believing that fact.
That, I mean, in their defense, that would be an insane stat. Could you imagine if he just had 164 feet of putts? Well, Shane Lowry posts at 13 under par just to set the bar for the rest of this episode. 15 under. That's the pace. That's the lead. 2 guys there. We'll get to them in just 1 second. The second best round of the day, Greg, was Justin Rose. Guess what? He played with Shane Lowry. These guys were drafting off one another. 62, 64. The next best round after that was 66s. So we are talking about by far the 2 lowest rounds of the day coming from the same group. Rosie, though, Greg, did accomplish what Shane Lowry could not. He birdied 18 for his score.
Yes, and he also had a great putting day. He gained 4.5 strokes putting. That was second to only Shane Lowry, which was very good. But for Justin Rose, this has not been a great year for him. He has one finish inside of the top 40. And it's a T11 at the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am, which he loves. He has not been hitting the ball very well, has not been putting very well. And all of a sudden, it all comes together because he hit it beautifully today. He scrambled beautifully when he had to. He only hit 11 greens and still shot 64. So a really impressive scoring day out of Justin Rose. A lot of his birdies came from hitting the fairways, took advantage of the receptive greens, and he and Shane Lowry were definitely feeding off of each other.
There were 5 rounds, Patrick, of 66 or better. I'm going to list out the names, and you just kind of tell me what comes to mind for you. So here we go. 62 from Shane Lowry, 64 from Justin Rose, and then 3 66s from Victor Hovland, Robert McIntyre, and Russell Henley.
Wow. Wow. I was not expecting that last name. That threw me off. I was going to say one European Ryder Cup team. They're having their way with it. But then you throw in Russell Henley, and I think, borderline top 10 players in the world only type of thing. You got Big Shot Bob, obviously. But I would say with Justin Rose, Greg, like you said, horrible year, very bad. But you look at his PGA Championship history at golf courses that might not really fit his game. This part of his career, T9 last year, T13, T8, 9th, like he gets the job done. It's really impressive stuff. And he's getting the job done now. And he's going to have another comfy pairing tomorrow because he's got the guy who was under his wing in Rome, Bobby Mack, next to him as well. And so maybe those two can draft off each other as well. I think, what are they? 3 back? Right there, kind of hovering, no one's really talking about them because there's a lot of big names in those last 3 groups. I'm just saying. Maybe there's a miracle.
The Euros are coming indeed. Let's talk about an American. That would be Justin Thomas. That would be the hometown boy, and they are carrying him around this place, Greg. Justin Thomas is easily the favorite out here. He turns in 32 and has a highlight reel hole out from greenside on 14 from the thick stuff. This ball gets on the green. It's rolling right at the cup. It goes down and sends these people into a frenzy. It settles in at a 67, which is 4 under par. Justin Thomas 5 shots off the lead.
It's very interesting watching JT this week because it has a ceremonial feel to it. Like the way that he's walking around, nodding to the crowd, looking at everybody. It almost feels like a legend of the game playing their last major championship, which is just a kind of a bizarre thing to watch. But the interesting thing about this is Justin Thomas is legitimately in contention. He's 5 shots back of the lead. He won the PGA Championship in 2022 from 7 back of the lead. Of course, these are different circumstances, but he's leading the field this week in strokes gained tee to green. And boys, today, other than that shot, Rick, you call it greenside. Yeah, that greenside might be a stretch, right? I mean, that thing was from a mile away. Other than that, he didn't make anything. He missed 3 putts from 5 feet. He gave himself a ton of looks from 15 to 20 feet, and he just wasn't capitalizing on it. I mean, he lost a shot and a half putting today and still goes out and shoots 67. So really impressive stuff out of JT from tee to green. And obviously, as you saw in 14, that includes the short game.
We were on 16, Patrick, when Justin Thomas made that birdie, that hole out, which is very close to 14 green. And we thought it was an ace because it was that loud. It ended up just being a Justin Thomas birdie. I think if it was anybody else, it would not have been that raucous, but we thought it was an ace over there until we realized who it was and they started chanting JT, JT, JT.
Or is he getting the hero treatment out there? Because there's a lot of people calling him the hometown hero. Like I don't know if there's any like stolen valor there. I understand he's a 2-time PGA Championship winner, but are we giving Justin Thomas the hero descriptor?
Well, I mean,
are the Louisville faithful or the Louisville faithful giving it to him?
Well, yes, they absolutely are. They are just loving on this guy. They're chanting his name everywhere. They're holding him in very high regard. I don't know if it escalates to hero status for me, but they like him.
Okay, interesting. But it's he's got the profile to take it deep tomorrow, obviously. And we know Justin Thomas, we talked about it last week with Rory's best. The whole conversation, who's best is the best. When he's on, it's a lot of fun to watch. It is a lot of fun to watch. And if he just makes putts tomorrow and he gets the crowd behind him and he gets running downhill from 5 back, he probably needs to shoot 61, I think, to win. I give it a 1% chance.
Wow.
Which isn't nothing.
No, that's like when Scottie Scheffler was basically 1% to complete the season slam, and which would be a huge number to do it, but it's not nothing. We're going to talk about Scottie. We're going to talk about Rory. We're going to talk about Brooks. We're going to talk about the guys at the top of the board. But first, we're going to take a quick break and hear a word from our partners.
Well, you need your sports news anywhere?
We've got breaking news to bring you.
Then get your sports anytime you want them. Big trade news overnight to discuss.
Because we know you need sports all the time.
A lot of movement in the rankings this week.
A legend adds to their legacy.
We're bringing you that breaking news right here on HQ.
CBS Sports HQ, anywhere, anytime, all the time.
And we're back. Let's do the sad stuff first. Greg, which sad player do you want? Your options are Rory McIlroy, Scottie Scheffler, or Brooks Koepka.
I'll try to choke my way through this. So if you lose me here, I apologize in advance. It's Scottie Scheffler. The end of some streaks, Rick.
The end of some streaks, indeed. It was a 2 over 73 that ends a streak of 41, I believe. 41 or 43?
Correct, 41.
41 consecutive rounds of even par or better. And Greg, it was ugly from the start. A double on number 2. He hit it down left of the green where you cannot be. He then made a ugly bogey on 3 thanks to 3 putts. He then hit one with driver, which I thought was too much club, over the green and left on 4 and ends up making a bogey there. So that is a stretch of 3 holes, double, then bogey, then bogey. He would put a couple of circles on the card, but he said after his round, every time he made a birdie, he gave it right back. And that is true. He did that 3 separate times, reverse bounce backs. And Scottie Scheffler drops 20 spots on the leaderboard. He is now in a tie for 24th.
You just can't make up for a start like that. There is no way that when scoring is as low as it is and you're starting the day 3 shots back, you can spot the field. I don't care who you are. You can spot the field 4 shots in your first 4 holes. And I do think that missing Ted Scott proved to be a big deal. I don't know if number 2 was avoidable. It looked like he was aiming a little bit farther left than he needed to, perhaps taking it on. I don't know if the lip of the bunker on the right influenced that aim. So perhaps that one's unavoidable. The 3-putt at number 3 was sloppy, and that is showing signs of a lack of concentration. And the biggest error of the day was at number 4. It's 297 yards to the hole, which is a back flag on the right, where you have to play short of that hole. If you can reach the green with 3-wood, that's great, but it is not a driver, and there's no way Ted Scott allows him to hit driver. And he has to make a putt from outside of 8 feet. He has to make a significant putt just to save bogey there. And all of a sudden, this tournament is over. And I don't think the tournament for Scottie Scheffler is over with a double at 2. I mean, it's costly, but you get in with a par at number 3, you make a birdie at number 4, and Scottie Scheffler still finds himself right in this thing. And the difference between a bogey at 4 and a birdie at 4 is simply the club that he pulls out of his bag. I can't help but think that was missing Ted Scott there.
Greg, I'm going to bounce this right back to you here. And we were out there. Actually, we probably put the hex on him because as soon as we got out there on 2, this disaster started. The second putt on 3 looked like he hooked it with his putter. It was a double cross. It was one of the worst strokes I've ever seen Scottie Scheffler take. And then he watched Mark Hubbard, who is not Joe Musso here, making a special appearance. He watched Mark Hubbard, who is a short hitter, pull driver on 4. He watched Thomas Dietrich hit hybrid to like 20 yards short of the green. I could not believe what I was seeing out there.
Yeah, it's just trying to force the issue, right? And it's a very uncharacteristic of the best decision maker in our game. Now, and I don't even think it's close. Scottie Scheffler is the very best decision maker we have, and to make errors, mental errors like this is why all of a sudden you're out of a tournament you were very much in heading into this round. It's so disappointing. You got bogeys on all the par 3s today. That's disappointing. But look, what happens after the first 4 holes is almost out for me. You know, if he changes just 2 of those shots, knocks in the 1 on 3 and hits the proper club, which is 3-wood at number 4, the whole round could be different. And you don't know what's going to happen. And I'm not saying he would have shot 67 and been in the mix here, but he wouldn't be out of the tournament. And shooting, it's so easy to look at this and take those 2 shots. You flip those 2 shots around, and all of a sudden that would put him at 9 under. And I think if you get to 10 under, you have a chance. So you're 2 over through 4 holes instead of 4 over through 4 holes, and it's a totally different ball game. Now an under par round is in play, and an under par round gets you to 10 under. 2 under gets you to 11 under. You know, all of a sudden things can start going in a positive direction, but out of sorts early. And it makes me very sad. Although it's understandable with all that he's been through. I just was hoping and wishing that he was going to overcome all of it.
73 for Scottie Scheffler is a sentence that I do not say often. Patrick, what sad boy would you like, Rory McIlroy or Brooks Koepka?
I will take Rory just because Brooks was he was out of it early and we didn't get much of him.
The real Rory sadness was Friday's round. Is that right?
Yes, but I would also say he did that thing where he kind of lulled you in. He lulled you in a little bit.
He did, and we fell for it. So he bogeys number 1. It was pretty ugly there, but then he gets it back at 4. And this is when we went out to the course because he birdied 4 in a row, 7, 8, 9, 10. Kyle and I rush out there, and sure enough, as soon as we do, Rory starts making pars, 11, 12, and 13. He gives one up at 14. That's a square there. Another on 16. He does get one back, claws one back on the par 5. 18th hole. Rory McIlroy gets in with a 68. That's 3 under for the day, 8 under for the championship. A lot of missed opportunities out there, Patrick, and you're right. He did reel us in again.
Yeah, so he gets to 9 under with that birdie on 10. Goes to 11, hits it to 11 feet, hits a pretty good putt, maybe a little too firm, hits the edge, misses it, hits it to 7.5 feet on 12, misses that as well. Middle of the fairway, probably hit it too far on 13, to tell you the truth. He was kind of in, but you want Rory McIlroy with 3/4 wedge, full wedge in his hand, not like a half chippy one, I would say. And he had like 70 yards, hits it to 15 feet still, but doesn't convert. And 13 is a birdie hole for sure. And it felt like, oh my God, 9 easily could have been 11. And then you have Rory McIlroy running downhill. What happens after that? You still have 1 par 5 left as well. Could he possibly get to 12? And just those 3 missed putts on the run that he was, it easily could have been 7 birdies in a row. and then it turned into 2 over. It sounds insane to say. I know it does, but it easily could have been the way he was hitting the golf ball today.
Yeah.
And it turns into his last 8 holes being 1 over instead, and sinking his chances. But I agree, yesterday equally as disappointing.
And Patrick, it wasn't, it was a combination, right? Because you got to remember how the moment was playing out. Rory was sprinting downhill, and the guys at the top of the board, the last 2 groups, had done nothing. I mean, we were out on the golf course with some of the best players in the world. I'm not sure I saw a birdie made all day long. It was pretty bad. And those top groups they were stuck in quicksand. So it really felt like if he can just get 1 or 2 more here, he is going to be fully engaged into this championship.
Yeah, it really did, especially when those guys went through number 4 without birdieing it. Like the first few holes, understandable, right? 1's difficult, 2's difficult, 3's a par 3 that someone, like a couple guys, got, but most people don't. And then 4 is really your first birdie opportunity. And once they got through that without the birdie, it's like, okay, these guys are kind of opening that door a little bit. And right when that happened, Rory kind of took a step back.
Yeah, he did. So Rory McIlroy, barring a few miracles, will continue the drought of major championships. He is 7 shots off the lead, and there are a lot of guys between him and the top. He is in a tie for 19th. There are more guys between Brooks Koepka and the top of the board here, Greg. So the week for Koepka looks as follows: 67, 68, and 74. Bogey on 1, double on 5, bogey on 9, makes the turn in 39. Bogey's 12. He is without a birdie until he gets to 17. He birdies both 17 and 18 to score 74. But man, I was ready for this, Greg. I thought we got a really gutsy, I thought, rounds from him on Friday where he held it together, got it in at 68. The course played, I believe, the easiest as it had all week today, and Brooks ejected himself.
Completely ejected himself. You know, I got a sense, what was it, after Thursday's round, that he the course is too easy, which that attitude kind of bothers me in general. It's like, it's the same this isn't good for me. I'm done. But he kind of proved it wrong with the finish on Friday. I thought he was going to fight through that and get himself in the mix. And then he hits it poorly today, only hits half of his greens, and continues to putt terribly. I mean, he had 31 putts today, lost 2.5 strokes putting. It was abysmal on the greens, and it's clear that he has an issue there to sort out. The new putter is not the answer. I don't know if it's a mental thing with him, or if it's just his game is not in the shape we thought it was coming into this event. So yeah, very disappointing day, and he ejected, and it feels like he checked out.
Patrick, do you know off the top of your head when the next live event is, and then in that in relation to Pinehurst?
Oh, is it Houston? Right, we talked about Houston before, maybe a couple weeks before Houston. I assume they have 2 in between, maybe like a Nashville, Houston type of situation.
Nashville, Houston, June 7th.
Okay.
Nashville, June 21st, and then what? The U.S. Open's after that.
That might be in between.
No.
Yeah, it might go Houston, U.S. Open, Nashville.
Okay, Houston, U.S. Open, Nashville.
So they only have 3 rounds.
Yeah, they're going to get 3 more rounds before So they're going to have 3 more rounds before Pinehurst.
Interesting.
Interesting indeed.
Yeah, that's all I got to say about that. That is a choice.
Didn't Forrest Gump say that? And that's all I got to say about that.
That's all I got to say about that.
All right. Well, we are going to turn this round upside down, and we are going to talk about the guys at the top of the board. Then we're going to look at the odds set by those those guys in Vegas. And hey, we might even take some questions. Throw them in the chat. See what you got. We'll finish up with those. But first, we're going to take a quick break and hear a word from our partners.
The best couch potatoes come from Pluto TV country.
And these taters, they like all sorts of different things.
Survivor Channel, Ink Master Channel.
If it's got a spaceship in it, I'm probably watching it.
3 channels dedicated to CSI.
Whatever mood you're in, it's going to be easy watching.
And we are back. Oh my goodness, the names at the top of the board. All of these names that we are going to talk about are at the lead or within 2 shots. Let's work our way up. Tied for 4th, in at 13 under par, the beautiful boy, Viktor Hovland, fired his 2nd consecutive 66. Patrick, it was clean. 2 birdies on 7 and 8. A birdie on 15, 17, 18 with 13 pars. The game is tidy. He is gaining throughout the bag. We're seeing that smile come out a little more often. And now he is 2 shots off the lead, trying to capture his first major championship.
The par save on number 6 really jump-started his round. He missed it right. Then he had to lay up 100 yards out, hits a wedge to like 30 feet, makes the putt, and then you see him start going downhill, takes advantage of 7, hits a great shot into 8 as well. And yeah, I mean, Joseph Mayo posted on Instagram saying he's happy.
No. He said,
well, what's it say exactly?
I am pleased, period. Which is such a Joe Mayo thing to do. He
I am
types
pleased.
it in Instagram. Doesn't tweet it. Types it in Instagram. Says, I am pleased.
Just ridiculous. Do you have a relationship with him?
I've chatted with him a handful of times. I don't even know if he remembers who I am. I feel like we've had the same conversation 3 times. Good
hang. Joe Mayo.
He is a big personality for sure.
Yeah. But it was awesome to watch. Awesome. And I think we kind of, Greg, we talked about him on DFS, where this is probably the week to buy in on Viktor if you wanted some. We get so like week to week with golfers that we tend to forget this guy was legitimately probably, if not the number 1 player in the world, top 2 player late last summer for multiple months. And that just doesn't go away. Yeah, you go down a rabbit hole, you try different things, but the skill level on this guy is still bonkers. It's still absolutely ridiculous. He can hit pretty much every shot you need. And he's proven in PGA Championships that it's a driver's test. Oh yeah, I'm one of the best drivers in the world. Oh yeah, I'm also one of the best iron players in the world. And I have the mental game to back it up too. And so I'm glad he's just reminding everyone that this guy, he's an absolute stud. And it was a great finish as well.
Patrick, one thing I would like to add to that or refute is that can just go away. And it didn't for Viktor Hovland, which is really impressive. He goes away at that point from Joseph Mayo, and that kind of a move it's ruined careers in the past. But he quickly comes back and quickly figures it out again, right? And this is what he's a quick study, a very quick study, and he trusts what he learns. He utilizes it, and it works, and he's not afraid of it. It's not like I haven't earned the right to shoot a 66 yet. It's like, oh, well, this is what I do. He gets something in his mind that works, and he can run with it, and he can hold his breath. That shot into 17 was so good. I mean, I don't know if I haven't seen this, but in every single round, he's gained strokes in every single category for this tournament. That is really impressive, and he is going to be a factor tomorrow.
You know who did that most recently? I think
Jake Knapp.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember
Gregory.
I remember you talking about that, Rick.
Greg, you are nasty, Greg.
You devious
That's why
dog.
There's a trophy right next to my name.
Wow. It's very rare. And the fact that Jake Knapp Nav did it. Victor Hovland. I mean, listen, it's very hard to do. So yeah, it's good job, Greg. Victor Hovland, T4, 2 shots off the lead, 13 under par. Also at 13 under, Bryson DeChambeau. Patrick, you talk about big boys. He's not as big as he once was, but he is still quite big, and he is playing like it this week. Bookends of circles on this card. A birdie on 1, double circle, eagle on 2. He chipped in there and sent this crowd into a frenzy. It's a very pro Bryson crowd out here. I'll tell you that. He probably slots like second behind Justin Thomas, admittedly, now that Scottie Scheffler has kind of played himself out of it. But a second major championship of the year and a second contention for Bryson.
So one of the first tournaments I got to cover was the 2021 BMW Championship at Caves Valley. Infamous, right? Patrick Cantlay, Bryson DeChambeau, that playoff. Might have been 2022. One of those years, though. But in Baltimore. And I learned that week that Bryson DeChambeau, out of all the players out there, might feed off the crowd as much as anyone. He almost shoots 59, I think, on Friday that day. He has everything going for him. And then over the weekend, Baltimore flips on him. They chant Patty Ice every which way. That's when the nickname was coined. He almost fights a fan walking off the 18th hole. And he goes like really down bad that week. And I think something similar happened at the Masters, where it was pretty pro Bryson early, and then they flipped pretty quickly as well. Rick, you said they cheered when they put some of his bogeys up on the board.
That is true. Yes, they did.
And so I think the crowd's a big factor for Bryson. That being said, he had no business shooting 4 under today. Ooh. Zero business. His iron play was atrocious. It was so bad, and he even admitted as much. And so the fact that he got in only 2 off the lead, the chip-in eagle on 18 was massive for him. I can't help but think he's going to piece it all together tomorrow. I really think, because he doesn't have to contend with the green speed. He has all his toys. He has his utensils, I guess, right? The fork, the knife, the 3D printed irons, everything he needs to succeed. And I think he's in store for a big boy, big time final round.
1.6 strokes to the negative on approach in round number 3. As I was walking back up here from CBS Sports HQ, who was on the range? That was Bryson DeChambeau. Greg, he has done that basically every night this week. He would, if he were to win this, it would be exciting. It would be entertaining. I'll give you that.
Yeah, it does seem like we're in store for an entertaining one tomorrow. The iron play for him today, it looks like you in a typical major championship where it's really firm and fast, and you can't get up and down from the short sides. It would be okay. It was just he didn't hit anything close, right? It's wide. Everything's wide. It's a lag putting kind of day, which on this golf course and this setup, you don't need to play that way. So he gets 7, obviously chips in for eagle at 18, hit a nice little wedge into 13 as well. But other than that, he didn't have very many good looks for birdie. So I watched this, and I don't know what we're going to get out of Bryson. My assumption is he's going to play really well. We did think this was a great golf course for him heading in. I think it's turned into a little more of a little less of a driver's test than I thought originally. And that distance that he has off the tee doesn't seem to be as big of an advantage. His ability out of the rough doesn't seem to separate from the rest of the field as much as I thought, which will be very interesting tomorrow. But all that being said, I still think he can putt well enough on these greens, and his short game has been very sharp this week as well.
2:15 p.m. Eastern time, the third to last group, Bryson DeChambeau and Victor Hovland. If you need me, you know where to find me. The man sitting in solo third at 14 under is Sahith Theegala. And Greg, I'm going to bounce this right back to you, because we sat here in the media center after he started 2 over through his first 7, including making par on the par 5 7th. And the words were uttered, something to the effect of, he's not ready. Moment's too big for him. He's playing with Colin and Xander, and it's over. Maybe next year. Au contraire. Birdie on 9, birdie on 10, birdie on 11, birdie on 13, birdie on 15, birdie on 18. And just like that, Sahith is 4 under 67, 1 shot off the lead.
It's incredible. And when I watched Sahith do this and put this run together after a rough start, I couldn't help but think of Scottie Scheffler and what could have been. Right? Like we talked about those first 4 holes. You just get through there in 2 over instead of 4 over. And, if something something becomes possible. And Sahith showed that today, where Scottie did not. He was very good, hit some very good approach shots in there. But really what he does on the greens is so impressive. That putting stroke is unique. He's had that putter since his college days, and there's no reason for him to change it because he rolled some beautiful putts consistently. And another guy that seems to really feed off the crowd. He seemed to get really into the moment. When he made that birdie at 15, he was completely fired up. That chip in at 15 from long of the green, he was fired up. I mean, I wouldn't have been surprised if he threw his hat on the ground. I know he didn't, but that's the kind of celebration he showed. So he's feeling the energy. He's in the heat of battle. And if he can get to that place where he's going downhill again tomorrow, it's going to be fun to watch him in this closing stretch, along with a Bryson and a Victor, who are also big-time emotional players.
15 was the hole of the day for me, Patrick, because that's where there was so much movement in that final group. Colin stuffs one in there, ends up making the birdie putt. You've got Xander making double, so three shot swing for those two. Sahith chips in for birdie, very loud roar, a lot of momentum, a lot of energy. So 2 shot swing between he and Xander as well. It was special.
Sahith doing that on top of Xander was awesome. It was so sick. And honestly, the start makes it so much better. He short sides himself with a wedge, catches a wedge thin out of that bunker, makes bogey. He thought he shanked his tee shot on 6. He looked at his club. He literally said, I might have shanked that. It makes bogey, doesn't take advantage of 7. First time he's in real major championship contention. And to kind of still be level-headed after that is very impressive. Very impressive. And to go on the run of 6 birdies over your last 10 holes, a back 9, 31, Saturday at a major championship. I don't really care about the conditions. That's ballsy. Next to a 2-time major champion, next to one of the best players in the world in Xander Schauffele, and to not blank over the back 9 and to kind of dunk on Xander on that hole too. When you need one, when that guy's struggling, who entered the hole with a 2-stroke lead, and you do that, kudos, man. He's so fun to watch. He's so fun to root for. He wears his heart on his sleeve. Those guys are just so easy to get behind.
He will be out in the penultimate group at 2:25 p.m. Eastern with Shane Lowry, leaving us with just 2 more golfers. They will be out together in the final group. They are going out at 2:35 p.m. Eastern time. They are Ryder Cup teammates. They are President's Cup teammates. They are a pair of Americans. They are Xander Schauffele and Collin Morikawa. Greg, let's go with Collin Morikawa. A 4 under 67, and after an early bogey on number 2, he turned it around. A bounce back immediately on 3. Another birdie on 5, 1 on 10, 1 on 15, and 1 on 18. This is the first time this week he did not have a streak of 3 birdies or more during his round. This was just pick him off here, pick him off there, keep yourself in this championship. And when he looks up, he's going to enter the final round with a co-lead for his 3rd major championship.
Yeah, and this seems to be setting up really well for Collin Morikawa, because I didn't think he was all that great today. It was not his best day approaching the green, although he did hit some really good iron shots, but not stuffing it in there regularly except for 15, the way that you expect Collin Morikawa to. But what he's done really well this week is scramble. And those kind of scrambling up and downs have been huge to keep the momentum going. He's not afraid of even chipping in. I just get this sense that he knows how to put a score on the board. And without his best stuff, which could be a sign. He hit some putts that I thought were, not the smoothest of strokes. A couple of them looked a little jabby, if you will, like he was tossing the putter head a little bit, throwing the toe a little ahead of the heel and pulling them left. So I didn't love what I saw there. But then again, at the same time, he finishes with the great shot where Sahith and Xander both seem to misjudge the wind at 15. He figures it out, hits that shot in there, and then makes the birdie at 18. Morikawa is going to be really tough to beat tomorrow because he's not really leaning on any one area of his game too much, even though he's leading the field and strokes gained around the green. It feels like there's a lot of ways where he can get the job done tomorrow.
The man he will go to battle alongside, although I guess they're competing against one another. They'll just be in the same group, really, Patrick, is Xander Schauffele. It was a 3-under 68, and it was smooth sailing for the majority of this round. We have already discussed the double bogey that he made at 15, which really turned the tide of this championship. I was impressed by the way he finished. He stuffed one on 17, makes a nice birdie there. And then, of course, he gets one at 18 to get in at 15 under. It was a 3-shot lead after the opening round for Xander Schauffele. It was a 1-shot lead for Xander Schauffele after 36. It is now a 0-shot lead, tied at the top for Xander Schauffele after 54. Are we trending in the wrong direction, or is this just him biding his time?
I don't know if you can say he's trending in the wrong direction. He hit 12 fairways today and 16 greens. It was really a masterclass, and he just got nothing to fall on the greens outside of the putt on 10, obviously, and the putt on 14 were bonus. But like early on, he made the par putt on 1 and then kind of just like hovered for most of it. And I guess the spin zone for this round for Xander is, hey, you got punched in the face. The good news is it's not the back 9 on Sunday. It's the back 9 on Saturday. And you have time to regroup. And you bounced back like a champ to tie for the lead. Yes, he could have pushed the envelope even further. Say you par that hole. Say you hit the fairway with, what was it, a short iron, like an 8-iron in his hand, maybe not even into that green, and you're leading by 2 tonight. But guess what? You're tied with Collin Morikawa. You tied him up late. You finished like a champ. How about you go ahead and get this done? Maybe you already got Collin's best punch, right? His short game's been magical so far this year. He chipped in on number 3. Those putts are lipping in for Collin like they did on number 15 when it wrapped around the rim. You got to believe that all those 10 to 15 footers, which he will have a ton of tomorrow, are going to drop, and that will determine if Xander Schauffele is a major championship winner or not.
Let's see who Vegas thinks is going to be the 2024 PGA champion, and oh boy, is it tight. Xander Schauffele, the favorite by the slimmest of margins, plus 250. Collin Morikawa, plus 260. Very tight. Bryson DeChambeau and Sahith Theegala are both 6.5 to 1. The crooked bookmakers have Victor Hovland at 7.5 to 1 to win his first major championship, with Shane Lowry at 12, and everyone else is 40 to 1 or longer. Greg, when you assess this board, what conclusions can you come to?
One, I'm just going to say I have no clue who is going to win tomorrow, which is kind of fun. I mean, this general setup, in my opinion, it sets up for a big comeback, a charge from the back. Hard to pick out a player who's going to do that. But Justin Thomas, who's 5 back, he goes out and shoots 8 under, gets to that 18 under mark. You could see things with all the leaderboard gravity and the pressure of winning the major. You could see that falling pretty heavy on the guys in front of him. So I think that's a very real possibility. That being said, there are 2 names on this board I'm interested in. One of them is Victor Hovland at plus 750.
Great.
I I really like what I saw out of Victor. I think he's hitting it really well. I think he's trusting it. I think he's very much a good enough putter to put a low one on the board tomorrow. But after what Patrick just said, after watching this round of golf from Xander Schauffele today,
no way.
He's the best. He's the best player on this board. He is. He's got all the shots. He's hitting beautiful fades when he needs to, beautiful draws when he needs to. He's hitting it into the centers of greens when he needs to, and he at some point he's got to be learning, right? Like he's won 7 times on the PGA Tour. That's not an accident, and I just feel like it has to happen at some point. And he's been too good not to win again. And he did get punched in the face today. And he punched back. That was huge. I think Xander's going to win tomorrow.
At least what I'm excited about is we're going to add another chapter to the Xander story. And it might be like another we got a chapter at Quail Hollow, and we're going to add another chapter. We're going to find out. We're going to find out if this is like a real thing or if it's just win luck. Patrick, what do you see?
Rick, you want to know something like crazy, insane? It's probably going to blow your mind. I hope you're sitting down.
Okay, I am.
I agree with Greg. He's missed 9 greens in regulation this week. He has missed 7 fairways. It doesn't say it on the leaderboard, which is super concerning, but he has been the best player in my eyes, eye test alert, by far this week.
Okay.
But I will say this. Do I think Xander Schauffele is going to win?
No.
Bryson DeChambeau is going to win. Bryson DeChambeau is going to win. We're going to cash $3.3 million for the one and done. He hasn't had his best stuff yet. I think it's going to arrive. And I don't know if we have the odds on this. We're due for a playoff, boys. We are due for a playoff. I like that.
I do think this is setting up for a playoff. Yeah, I'm gonna say this about Xander, and I can't believe it's coming out of my mouth. Golf is not played in a spreadsheet. I don't care how many fairways or greens he's hit. Have you seen this man play golf on Sunday in a pressure situation? Have you seen it?
I saw it at the 2020 Olympics in Japan. I saw it at the Tour Championship back in 2017.
Yeah.
I saw it. Where else has he won? The Travelers with Sahith Theegala when he probably shouldn't have won that.
Scottish.
He tried to give that one away late a little bit.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree, Rick. He has been the best player, and that's why
he's a gold medalist. He's an American hero.
Yes, American hero, local hero, and you know who's a hero to some? To the kids online. People told him Justin Thomas. People were telling Bryson at Augusta, "Thank you, sir, for all you do online. We appreciate you." Bryson DeChambeau's a hero to some on YouTube, and he's going to turn those fans into professional golf fans. He's going to save the game. He's going to crown major number 2, raise the Wanamaker. It's going to be glorious. And Jim Nance's call. Bryson crushes them all at Valhalla.
That would actually... there's no chance he does that because he's been seemingly pretty anti-live, but that would be hilarious.
Stamp it.
And that would be pretty good. All right. Let's run through some of these questions. Josh, just fire away. I have not seen these. I have no idea what they are.
Are you going Vic, Rick?
I want it so bad. But I think Colin is going to win. Okay. I think Victor is a very good number. If you want to bet that at 7.5 to 1, I think that's a great number. I think that Colin is a very high momentum player, and when things go well, they go really well, and then when they go south, they go really south. And he's got that look about him right now, and I think Colin actually wins this.
He plays great when he is an a-hole.
Yeah.
And he's being one right now.
Yeah.
In a good way. That's a compliment on my end.
Yeah. All right. Sorry, Josh. What was it? All right. Real quick. Rose or Lowry having the better round tomorrow? Both had great rounds today. Both rode the putter. Imagine they are in a head-to-head matchup tomorrow. Greg, which side do you want?
Lowry.
Patrick.
I'll take Rose.
I will also take Rose. We'll break the tie that way. Josh. What do the leaders need to shoot tomorrow? So they're currently at 15 under. That's the lead. And there are 9 golfers who are either at the lead or within 4. So, Greg, what number do the leaders have to get to be safe?
19 outright, 18 playoff.
Oh, that might be a little. So I think, okay, Patrick. So maybe Sunday might play a little bit more difficult in Greg's eyes then.
I was going to go one deeper. 20 outright, 19 playoff.
I think on this one I'm taking Greg's side. So we're also even here. Yeah. All right, Josh. Joshy boy. Why are the players using yardage books this week? They can use a rangefinder. What's the point of both? Greg.
You don't play golf with one number in mind. You want to know how far it is to cover a bunker. You want to know how far it is to cover a ridge. You need to know how much you have to the back of the green. The best players in the world, you should do this too. They play to gaps. It's not 143. It's 137 to 149. You're playing into windows. And so while you can use the rangefinder to get the number to the pin, you need more information than that.
Josh. Is there a first-time winner? Who will it be? Well, Patrick, you have to choose a first-time winner this time. Xander, Victor, or Sahith? I think it's Xander.
I'm going to go with Xander. I'm rubbing my forehead, though.
He is rubbing his forehead. Okay, here's what's going to happen. We are going to know tomorrow night who the 2024 PGA champion is, and we are going to talk about it on this podcast. We're also going to spend a lot of time talking about it on CBS Sports HQ. We are also going to do, I don't know, lots of other things like tweet it out and, do fun stuff along the way. But for now, we're going to go home, and we're going to thank producer Josh for doing all the hard work behind the scenes. I'm going to tell you that if you want to chat with Greg on Twitter, you can find him at TheRealGFD. If you want to send your messages to Patrick, that's at P McDonald CBS. And if you want to send me things, make them good. It's at Rick Run Good. This has been The First Cut. We'll catch you next time.